Oh, hello, Ranger Aaron here, and because today we're entering Bird Week, I decided to come out here to see if there are any birds flying around that I could spot with my monocular. Didn't see a whole lot yet, but I did see a beautiful red-shouldered hawk flying around. One other thing I came across was this really cool nest right here that was abandoned. It had fallen to the ground. Based on the size, I would say it's probably a hummingbird nest. So, one of the other cool things I'm out here to do is to read a book to you today. The book I'm going to be reading for Bird Week is called Animals in Flight, authored by Steve Jenkins and Robin Page. Now, this is a different kind of book because rather than tell a story, it tells us all about the animals that fly, be it birds, insects, or even reptiles. So, why don't you join me as I read this book to you today? Imagine being able to fly, soaring, swooping, diving, or hovering. So many animals are able to do what we can only dream about. How do they do it? When and why did they take to the air? On this page, we have the illustration of a barn swallow. At our visitor center at King Gillette Ranch, we have cliff swallows, and they every year make nests, and they swoop, they dive, they fly around. And did you know the barn swallow can spend upwards of 18 hours a day in the air? That's a lot of flight time. Insects were the first flying animals. And on this page we have the ancient dragonfly, which lived almost 350 million years ago. It's a long time. This dragonfly was larger than most living insects today, actually bigger than all insects today. It had a wingspan of 2.5 feet across. That is massive. How did insects begin to fly? No one knows for sure. Some insects may have had flaps on their bodies that they used to warm themselves in the sun, or they may have started their lives in the water and had fins for swimming. When these insects jumped to avoid danger, some were able to glide to safety with the help of these fins or flaps. And after a few million years, most insects had developed real wings and had spread to all parts of the world. Some insects, including the ancient cockroach, which was 1.5 feet long. I don't like cockroaches. If I saw a cockroach that big, I would just get out of there really quickly. Then, about 250 million years ago, small dinosaurs began to fly. The first flying reptiles were small animals. They were related to dinosaurs and lived most of their lives in trees. Eventually, some of them became quite large. The Pterodon, which is this creature right here, lived 175 million years ago and had a wingspan of 17 feet. This creature right here, the Archaeopteryx, lived roughly 150 million years ago and was the first true bird. It had feathered wings and scaly skin like reptiles. The largest of the flying reptiles was the Quetzalcoatlus. Its wingspan was 40 feet across. You compare that to the modern day bald eagle, its wingspan was only 7 feet across. Massive difference in size. Flying helps animals escape danger, find and catch food and move from place to place. This illustration right here is a beautiful robin escaping the danger of a snake. The robin uses flight to escape danger, much like we see here. It may also fly to catch insects, to reach seeds or fruit that other animals can't reach, or to find a safe spot to build a nest for its young. Down here we have the barn owl. Owls, their wings are covered with soft feathers that make no sound as they fly. It allows them to swoop down on unsuspecting creatures like mice. All animals, past or present, have wings. And on this page is the wing of a scarlet macaw, a really beautiful wing. But different animals have different wings and different kinds of wings. Here we have the wing of reptiles, of insects, of birds, and of bats. And they all function in the same way. They create lift. And lift is the force that gets an animal up into the air. All wings, animal or man-made, create lift in the same way. The shape of the wing causes the air moving above it to travel faster than the air below it. As air moves faster, its pressure is reduced. This results in higher air pressure beneath the wing that pushes upward, lifting the wing and the flyer into the air. Animals use their wings in different ways. Some can hover. The hummingbird on this page is one of those animals that can hover. And the hummingbird is the only bird that can hover or fly in place. Hummingbirds can also fly up, down, sideways, and backwards. The hummingbird's wings can act as helicopter blades, pushing air down or sideways. This is how the hummingbird can fly in any direction. Most insects can fly like a hummingbird. When a housefly, for example this one right here, wants to land on the ceiling, it hovers right side up, lifts its front legs until its feet touch the surface, and then it swings its body around so it's upside down. Others can dive, soar, or turn loops in the air. This right here is the Peregrine Falcon, the fastest bird of all, and it can reach speeds of 170 miles an hour in a dive. Here we have ducks. Ducks often travel in a V formation. Except for the leader, each duck is partially pulled along by the air current created by the bird it flies behind. It takes more work to fly at the front of the V, so the ducks take turns leading. Some birds, like the vulture, ride updrafts or rising currents of warm air called thermals. These birds may be able to stay aloft for hours without ever flapping their wings, which are large for their body. Bats, right here, have very flexible wings that allow them to change direction quickly. Most bats feed on flying insects, so they may have to be acrobatic flyers. They can fly upside down, spin, or turn loops in the air. Birds use more than just their wings to fly. In fact, their whole bodies are made for flight. And here we have an illustration of a hawk as it prepares for a landing. So how are their bodies made for flight? Feathers, light and strong, create a large wing surface to push against the air. They also keep the bird warm to conserve energy. Birds have hollow bones, and hollow bones keep the bird's body light. Strong muscles are used to power their wings, and a streamlined body moves easily through the air. Some birds are unable to fly because they are too heavy or their wings are too small. These birds are able to get around in other ways. The ostrich, which can weigh as much as 300 pounds, can run as fast as a horse. The penguin is a graceful swimmer and spends most of its time in the water. Insects are the most common flyers. It is believed that there are more than 1 million different kinds of flying insects. Here we have a honeybee. A honeybee, like most flying insects, has 2 pairs of wings, which means 4 wings in total. When wasps begin to fly, its wings move down and forward like a bird to create lift. As the wasp raises them for the next stroke, however, they twist upside down, and this provides lift on both the upstroke and the downstroke. When a butterfly is resting, as many of you notice, it holds its wings together and upright. When it's ready to take off, it rapidly pulls these wings down and apart, and this creates suction that pulls the butterfly straight up into the air. The ladybug, like all beetles, has a pair of front wings that are hardened into a protective covering. When the ladybug flies, it swings these hardened wings outward and forward and beats its back wings. The front wings don't flap. They do provide lift, however, once the ladybug is moving. Bats are the only mammals that can fly. And here we have a vampire bat, which feeds on the blood of other animals. And here we can get a good look at their wings. The bat's wings are supported by 4 very long fingers that you can see right here. These flexible fingers and the thin skin stretched over them allow the bat to twist its wings into almost any shape, making it possible for the bat to change direction quickly and gracefully. Flying squirrels, flying fish, and flying frogs can't really fly. They are gliders. And here we have the flying frog, and you can see the flaps of skin between its fingers. The flying frog uses the skin stretched between its toes to glide from tree to tree. Like other gliders, it doesn't have wings and is unable to create enough lift to overcome gravity, so it's not a real flyer. And here we have some other gliders. We have the flying squirrel, the flying lizard, the flying gecko, the flying fish, and the flying snake. All of these are actually gliders. And most gliders can travel from 50 to 150 feet in the air. The flying fish, this one right here, holds the animal gliding record of 1/4 of a mile. That's more than 1,300 feet. Almost flying. The largest and the smallest flyers. This is the albatross. It uses its large wings to soar over the ocean for days at a time. And the albatross has a wingspan of up to 12 feet, the largest of any bird. Here we have the fairy fly, only 1/125th of an inch long, about the size of this tiny dot right here. It is the smallest flying insect. The Bumble Bee Bat, the world's tiniest bat, has a wingspan of only 6 inches and weighs less than a penny. The bee hummingbird is the smallest bird. Its body is less than 3 inches long and its wings measure 6 inches across. That's tiny. The largest flying insect is the Queen Alexandra's birdwing butterfly. It measures 12.5 inches from wingtip to wingtip. That is a large insect. And the Indian flying fox, with wings 6 feet across, is the largest bat in the world. Imagine seeing a bat 6 feet across from wing to wing. Fastest, farthest, highest world record flyers. Here we have the spine-tailed swift. It is the fastest bird in level flight, meaning not counting dive. It can reach speeds of up to 112 miles per hour for short periods of time. That is faster than most people drive. And here we have the horsefly. It can reach speeds of 30 miles an hour or more, making it the fastest insect. The fastest bat is the big brown bat, which can fly 40 miles per hour. The Arctic tern, it flies round-trip distance of 25,000 miles every year, as it migrates from the Arctic to the Antarctic. The spotted whooper swan holds the record for the highest altitude flying. It has been seen flying 27,000 miles above sea level. That's way up there. And monarch butterflies, these beautiful ones, they migrate from the Great Lakes to Mexico every fall, and that is a distance of 2,000 miles. Wow. Inspired by animals, humans have dreamed of flying for centuries. Here is an early but unsuccessful flying machine. Unlike birds, human bodies are not made for flight. A man of average weight, about 150 pounds, would need wings of about 140 feet across to fly. Even the strongest person in the world would be unable to flap wings that large. But we didn't stop dreaming. Here is a helicopter that was built in the 1800s that also didn't work. It didn't work because it's very difficult for humans to generate enough energy to lift their bodies in the air. The first human flights were made using balloons. In 1903, the Wright brothers piloted the first working airplane. It traveled just 120 feet in its initial flight. But now we have passenger jet planes. A modern passenger jet flies at speeds of more than 500 miles per hour. And the fastest plane is the SR-71 Blackbird spy plane. It was built by the United States in 1961 and can fly 3 times the speed of sound. That is over 2,000 miles per hour. Well, I hope you enjoyed this book with us today. And I hope it's taught you a little bit more about all the creatures that can fly. Because this is Bird Week though, this is not it. We have 2 more programs this week. For you junior rangers out there, this Wednesday at 3 p.m., Ranger Nico will be holding the Bird Beak Cafe, which will teach us all about the different beaks that birds use. And then Friday at 3 p.m., Ranger Nico will be holding a program all about birds, an introduction to them. So again, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the book. And if you come by for the next program, I'll see you there. Take care.